Hi beauties, my name is Jessica and welcome to my majestical world where through life's changes I hope to inspire you to create, explore, and know the beauty that is around you, for you, and in you, because your beauty is more than skin deep. And in today's video, it is going to be a get ready with me video, and we are going to be also exploring and diving into Brene Brown's book, The Gifts of Imperfection. So as we get ready for our day on the outside, I'm also going to be sharing with you guys my thoughts on what I'm doing at the moment to prepare myself on the inside and to explore that beauty that's within and to really get to know my inner beauty, and I hope that it inspires you and ignites you to do the same. This is a 4-part series. There's just so many great things that I got out of this book, and I really just want to share it with you guys. So I've divided the book up in 4 videos. I don't know about you guys, but I struggle with the need to, we all know that no one is perfect, but like, I don't know whether it's the way I was raised, whether it's religious based, as far as just the desire and the mindset to strive for perfection. So I've had this book for about 5 years, and beginning of the year decided to dive into it. You can see we have lots of notes going on, and this has started my whole journey to hopefully read 1 book every month and to share my thought process with that with you through my channel. So let's get started. So before we dive into talking about the book, I'm going to go over our makeup look that we're going to do today. I'm going to share with you up front the lineup of makeup products, and so if you have any questions about the products that we're using or why I'm using those, just comment below and I'll make sure that I get back to you. And on that note, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. That way you get notifications for when I upload new content. And I'm hoping that this is the first video or diving deeper into what my channel is actually about. Let's get started with our products that we're going to use today. We're going to be using the Lancôme Foundation. But before that, we're going to be using the Urban Decay All Nighter Face Primer. And then we're going to use the Mercier Finishing Powder, the Too Faced Natural Face palette, just to kind of give a little contour. My blush is going to be Anastasia, Beverly Hills. It's their blush trio in Berry Adore. And for our eye makeup, we're just going to do a natural look with just a hint of a smokiness, like an olive smoke. So for that, we're going to be using the Morphe 35V palette. So it's broken, but it's gone with me everywhere, so that's probably why it's broken. And for our shadow primer, we're just going to use the Pur Cease Crease eyeshadow primer. Our eyeliner is going to be the MAC in the pod. It's called Black Track. And for our mascara, we're going to be using the Lancôme Hypnôse Drama. And for our eyebrows, we're going to fill it in with the Climax, with my old Climax mascara. So now we have our product lineup, so we can just kind of dive in. So if you have read this book, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear kind of your experience with it. If you like, whatever your aha moments were, or what really kind of resonated with you the most. I mean, from the beginning of this book, reading it, like, she just drew me in. So I knew that spiritually, mentally, emotionally, I needed it at this exact moment. So before we really get into the book, the reason why I want to kind of dive more into my beauty journey of the inside. Everybody wants makeup videos. And so I thought, why not do both things? We're going to do makeup videos while also exploring the beauty that is within us. Because really, the beauty on the outside is just the representation of the beauty that's on the inside. Beauty is more than skin deep. As a stylist, I absolutely love what I do. But my absolute favorite thing is when I have a client in my chair and through like their hair transformation, they see a beauty that they didn't know existed. Like the transformation that takes place, it like at times has brought people to tears because they literally didn't know that their hair could do that. And it's because they were so disconnected with what their hair actually was created to do. So I love, that's my favorite, is when people all of a sudden they see a beauty they see something that they never saw before, and they instantly they walk out with their head up and their shoulders back and just with this sense of purpose and who they are that they didn't have when they walked in. That's my favorite gift or tool that I have, is to connect with my clients. And more than likely, in order for that to happen with my clients, more than likely they have to be vulnerable, and at some point during their visit we have connected more than just a surface level connection. They have to be open to trusting me that I want the best for their hair and that I want them to walk out feeling their best. So that is what I wish to bring to my channel. That's what I wish to bring to you guys on a virtual level, and I'm hoping that this creates more than just a surface level connection. What my clients may not know when they come in and we have those types of experiences is those days that happens are like, that's what really like revs me up to do what I do. That's why I do what I do. With that being said, as you watch this video, if there's anything that resonates with you, or if you've read the book and you got something different, please leave me a comment below of your perspective. And like, let's create a dialogue, whether it's me, whether it's other people. No, let's grow and let's glow together. I will leave links to all of the products that I'm using today down below. They are from Ulta, and then I will leave a link to the book. And like all of my videos so far, none of this is affiliated marketing. It is just me sharing the products that I enjoy on my morning routine, as well as at the moment the book that I'm enjoying on my internal spiritual growth journey. I don't know how many of you get caught up or have got caught up in the need to be perfect, or even like the desire the need to strive for perfection. And so like, you know that it's unobtainable, but like it doesn't keep me from trying, nor does it keep me from, in a sense, beating myself up when I fall short. And then really though, but like at the end of the day, who says what's perfect? Is it like our religion? Is it a book? Is it what our parents taught us? Is it what our coworkers, our bosses tell us? What is perfection? No one knows, because we all have a different idea of what it is. And I think that is something that I'm having to learn and come to terms. I'm having to learn and then also accept for myself. No one else really needs that acceptance from me, but I need to honor that in a sense. And so that process, or that realization through this study, definitely something that I'm going to have to be practicing daily. We're going to talk about Brené's 3 C's that she covers in the first chapter. We're not going to go any further than the first chapter today. It was like setting the groundwork for what I needed, as well as, I can't even tell you, like I was blown away by just the thought process, what goes into breaking down what we think we have to conquer for perfection. Anyways, I don't know if this is making sense. I hope that it does make sense, and I hope that maybe you get something out of it. So her 3 words: courage, compassion, and connection. Now, to be honest, I thought that I had a really good idea about what these words meant, what it meant to have them, and so on and so forth. However, diving in a little deeper, this has completely rocked my world. Alright, so our first word is courage. And so when I think of courage, I think of like something really, like somebody that's really strong, like women that are courageous, who kind of beat the odds, who stand up for what they believe in. We think of like a superhero. And or we think of like doing big things. Like there's been lots of times that I've had courage in my life. So like when I came out to my family, that took courage. When I moved across the United States, that also took courage. When I opened my own salon, that took courage. When I closed it, it took courage. So I think of like the big things in my life, and then I think about the other things. And then I think also like about the women that I know of that are courageous. You know, as far as, we'll just go way back to like high school, because I always think of courage as being strong. And there were 2 very strong women that were teachers of mine, and they handled things very different, but they were very strong, and that's what I think of as far as courage goes. So like Miss Guin, who was a high school teacher, like I love the fact that she never allowed the football players to speak to her in the same manner that they were allowed to talk to other female teachers. She just didn't put up with it. So I just felt like, to me, that took courage. So I think maybe sometimes I'm getting strength and courage mixed, but maybe they also collide. And then my 6th grade teacher, that was Miss Johnson. She was the first teacher that stood up and explained to us what bullying was, and actually explained to us what the act of bullying is and what actions would be different than bullying, and the harm that it does and the ripple effects. And so like I'll never forget, like there's a lot of things that I don't remember about school, but like I just remember those things. So those were very strong women. But they also had to be very vulnerable, because like Miss Johnson, that was before like the bullying movement. And so basically that held every person accountable in our classroom. And what they both had in common, they both handled everything with a certain amount of sternness, but also grace. But what I didn't see was that they put their values before being liked. So they, in a sense, they were being vulnerable with their reputation based on what was popular or what was not popular. So in the book, Brené explains the definition of courage as to speak one's mind by telling all one's heart. And to be honest, that scares me, because I'll tell bits and pieces of my heart, but sometimes I won't tell all because I'm afraid of the judgment that comes with it. Or the perception of what may come out of it, or the fact that I will be dismissed. And so it's easier to just not get to that level of vulnerability than it is to take the reaction. And I don't know whether that is like my strive for perfection, like we talked about, or whether it's just my desire to not disappoint people. And maybe that probably also comes from like my history, because when you disappoint other people, like, it definitely can hurt. But now we consider courage to be putting your vulnerability on the line. And both of those scare me. To speak my mind and tell my whole heart, but then also to put my vulnerability on the line. To let people really truly see the Jessica that has everything together, and then the Jessica that's got nothing together. So, and it really scares me, because to be on that level of vulnerability, it scares me, because what if I'm dismissed, or what if they laugh at me, and or what if someone tells me that I'm crazy? I mean, that's scary, because in my head, sometimes other people's voices are louder than my own. So I don't want to get to that place of vulnerability. And so, but what I have learned through this is courage is vulnerability. Courage is speaking the truth and being vulnerable enough to ask for help while learning compassion. And compassion for who? At this moment, compassion for myself, and compassion for, I guess, maybe the response that I'm afraid may happen. I don't really know, but anyways, but compassion. That leads us into our second word, which is compassion. And Brene explains compassion as listening to others' vulnerability without a reaction, but a response, which I think is crucial. I think I need to add more of that into my life. I think I need to surround myself with people that listen without a reaction, but to respond. And that's what this past year has definitely helped me to separate myself, just not for the sake of others, but for the sake of myself. I needed to really get to know Jessica's voice inside my own head. I said we're going to do olive. We are not doing anything olive. We're doing a plum. And maybe I'll add olive. All right, so this one word, I had to relearn what it meant. I had to relearn the definition, and I had to relearn the application. That was scary, because I would consider myself a very compassionate person in all of my perfection. And so to be kind of shook to your core, where you're like, am I really compassionate? Like, what? Why wouldn't I be compassionate? So, but compassion is to understand that it's an interaction not between a healer and a wounded, but between equals. Can I just tell you, like, let's see here what this does. So the fact that compassion is between equals and not a healer and a wounded, that, so let's just look at that for a second. So first of all, it creates a space where people are comfortable coming to me. But more than anything, for me in this moment, it creates a space where I can go to other people and not feel like I'm less than. And so that is what I am inviting into my world, into my circle, into my people, is people with compassion. I want to be someone that has compassion, someone that sees people as equals and not of a healer and a wounded, and not of a higher and then a lower. And so it helps me to also understand that having compassion doesn't mean that I need to fix it. So there again, also let off the hook that I'm not less than, nor do I have to fix anyone else's problems just because I have compassion for them. Because I cannot tell you, I'm a fixer. I love to help people. When they have a problem, I love to just dive in and let's see what we can do to get this fixed and get this done. And sometimes, a lot of times, or most times, people don't need me to jump in and save the day. What they need is someone to hear them so they know that they're heard. So, and on that compassionate note, we will go into boundaries. Healthy boundaries. Do you know that I am 37 years old and just now learning what healthy boundaries are? I don't know why I'm just now learning what that is. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I had started kind of working towards this direction for a while, but to really understand and to know what healthy boundaries are and to be okay with them, I'm just now learning that. And so, because honestly, I had no clue what a healthy boundary was. I had always been like an all or nothing. I'm either cut and dry. I'm all in or I'm all out. I'm either peace, like we got this, or bye-bye. And so because that was my innate nature, because either that was my example, because I don't know why I thought that that's what boundaries were. I can't tell you how many meaningful relationships I've walked away from. And so, but I had built up so many walls, like very isolating. And these may be like, this is how I spent my life. It's not a new thing for me to build up boundary walls. I would have to say the more I had started putting them up more and quickly and more freely, whether it was because I was hurt, whether it was because I hurt people and I was ashamed of that because I felt like I was a bad person. Whatever the reason may be, I had no clue why I didn't know how to set up healthy boundaries. I really didn't understand how setting healthy boundaries and having compassion, how that interlocks with one another, and what the correlation is of the two. Basically, but by not having healthy boundaries, I would let myself get to like a done moment. I would put everything that I had out there, crossing all of my own boundaries that I neglected to set in place, and I'm sure crossing other people's boundaries, because it was just easier to let me cross those boundaries than it was for them to tell me the truth. And so I would just work myself up to a done point. So by reading that, it started. So since I realized, as she's describing things, I'm not really sure what a healthy boundary is, or how to establish those. I then was doing a workout, and during the process of my workout, I like to listen to somewhere in between like beast mode and then like spiritual growth while I'm listening to workouts, trying to just cram everything I can into that hour as far as just like fueling whatever. So, however, I came across this video by Christina Lopes. and it's basically how to set healthy boundaries. If you are like me and you don't understand how to set healthy boundaries, and you are open to more of a spiritual guidance with that, make sure you understand I'm saying spiritual, not religious of any sort, a spiritual guidance with that. I will post her video link below. I highly recommend it. It was like the biggest aha moment. It was probably like the biggest, most electric charging breakthrough that I had, because I was working out physically and then I was like releasing so much on a mental and spiritual aspect too. So anyways, I'll post her link below. So clearly, with as excited and as much as I'm talking about this, this is probably, through all of my studies so far of this book, Healthy Boundaries is probably my biggest opportunity to practice daily and consistency. I know it's going to take work, and it's probably not going to be easy, but what I want most is connection. Don't get me wrong, I have friends and I have very meaningful relationships, but what I want is that deeper level of connection. I want to know that we think more and beyond the material things that we have. I want to be around people that encourage you to dive deeper and to really connect with who you are on the inside. And I want them to encourage me to connect who I am on the inside, so we can live in our wholeness and live a whole life. I know that's my biggest opportunity, because what I long for is connection. And if I have put up this many walls, they're going to keep me from connecting to the beautiful people around me. Like, I'm just inviting new connections, and my current connections, to be more empowering of one another. And that means I also have to do work on myself. So getting back to connection based on the book. So in the book, Brene defines connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued. So I think that is why I had to dive deeper into the boundaries of compassion and not be a fixer, because I was listening to respond and to make it better instead of listening to react for what that person needed in that moment. Like, there is lots of times that I don't feel heard, but maybe I don't feel heard because I don't listen. Or maybe it's not I don't feel heard because I don't listen, but I feel like culturally that's just what we do. Everybody's got something to say, but no one takes the time to listen, to process, and then to just be. So that is part of what this little journey, this new journey, this evolving into who I'm supposed to be next, is to really try to take the time to connect and to just listen and to just be. So for me, that is how the compassion and connection tools are connected or tied together, is through healthy boundaries and tearing down the walls. And then another huge component that Brene brings to the table about connection is trust, self-sufficiency, and the receive and give. So for the last couple of years, we're going to go backwards on those. For the last couple of years, I have I've practiced the receive and the give, because I know what I feel like when I'm able to give to someone, and I love that, and I love that feeling, and I never want to rob someone of that when I don't allow them to give me something in return. So I've really tried to be okay with being a receiver and not in a sense condoning myself because I was given something. Like, that sounds so silly, is to condone yourself. But that's what I subconsciously or consciously did, like this self-talk. I'm thankful that I'm at the place now with the receiving and the giving, because it at least tells me that my connection piece with others is not completely off course. And then there's like the whole self-sufficiency part that she talks about. And I have to tell you, I am one stubborn person, especially when it comes to a project, when it comes to whatever. I am someone where I will do things all on my own for multiple reasons. For one, I like to take pride in what I do. I like to take pride in saying, I did that. I did it. I like the pride and that sense of accomplishment that I get after I have completed something all on my own. But then I honestly though, like those are the first and foremost things I throw out there, but like another part of me is I don't want to be vulnerable to ask. I don't want to be seen as weak, which sounds ridiculous, but it's just my truth. What if I'm too aggressive with what I need from the other person and how I want it done? Or what if I don't like the job that they did when they helped me? I don't want to tell them that. So then I would just get angry and not be vulnerable and not share my whole heart in a graceful, compassionate way. What if I make them feel unappreciated? Like that, I don't want that. To me, that's a lot of work. And why would I add more to my plate? However, that is a key part of connection. And there it goes back to communicating. If you need help with something and you're going to ask someone to come and help you out, like how do you do that? Like, do you have like that shame moment where you're like, I feel bad that I can't do this on my own? I mean, like I just went through a moment like that. So I refinished our kitchen cabinets. We just painted them, redid the hardware. And I basically did, for the most part, everything on my own. But there was one thing that I could not do. See, going back into the self-sufficiency thing. There was one thing that I absolutely couldn't do by myself, and that was hold the cabinets up while I hung them on the wall. And Jill was not, she hadn't been feeling good, but she was feeling okay this specific day. But like, I was so bound and determined to not ask her for help. I waited for her to ask me if I needed help, and I just huffed and puffed until she did. First of all, that does nothing for connection. And tell me if you've ever done that. I know that instead of communicating my needs, I just was so stubborn. And I know that I got that from my mom. How many of us, especially women, we learn what we get from our moms as far as self-sufficiency. We don't need anyone. We don't, because we can do it all on our own, because we're supposed to be like freaking superwoman. We're supposed to look good while we're doing all the things, while we're taking care of all the people. Like, that's, I mean, it's possible, but is that really fulfilled? Like, are you really having genuine connections with that? Anyways, let me know what your thoughts are, because I would like to know that I'm not the only one that struggles with that specifically. But anyways, so the self-sufficiency basically kind of leads us into the first word of connection, is trust. Trust. What does trust even mean? I mean, like, I guess it depends on, it's a different level. So like, you trust your partner, and then you would trust your friends, and then you would trust your managers, and then trust your coworkers. And you would trust all these different people on a different level. I am really stubborn. I really don't know. Let me rephrase that. I am beginning to be more open-minded and more trusting. However, trusting has been hard for me to trust other people. Part of it could be that maybe I have a timeline that I'm wanting to stick to. I don't know if I really trust. I mean, I do trust people, Like, I trust people if I really needed it and it was life or death, then I trust people. But when it comes to the vulnerabilities of the heart, when it comes to trusting others, basically like their values or their guidance, or to trust others, like, I don't know if I trust that what people tell me, is it coming from a good place or is it coming from a bad place? Like, am I alone here? Like, am I the only person that really struggles with trust? I struggle with boundaries and trust here. So clearly this book has given me some things that to work on when it comes to those things. But I think the biggest part of the trust thing is, I don't know, in order to trust other people, you have to be able to trust yourself. So there's been times that I don't trust myself. Like, maybe I don't trust myself to be a good friend. Maybe I don't trust myself to be a good partner. And I guess that probably stems from past mistakes, past friendships. And I guess part of trust is also to have faith, which faith is not tangible. Sometimes I don't trust that I'm going to make the right decision to be perfect. And then I don't want the shame or that comes with that. And so, but that's why this book is so important for me to go through. And if any of this has resonated with you, I believe that it would be a phenomenal book for you to read as well. I just got to trust God that this journey of embracing my imperfections is exactly where I need to be. Because, I mean, I've read books about grace, I've read books about all different sorts of things, but this book I really needed for the now. That's just chapter 1. Like I said, this is going to be a 4-part series of talking about things, diving in a little deeper, sharing with you guys my heart, the evolution beauty of bringing that out. Because I honestly believe that trying to strive for perfection hasn't done anything for me. It doesn't do anything for anybody. Because really, like, when I see all of these stressed out people walking around and not living in their truth, myself included, like, it's heartbreaking. And I feel like we're just meant for so much more. So let me know what your thoughts were on anything that we talked about. So I'm going to try to upload the next video a week from this video's release date, and then go from there. And so, anyways, let me know in the comments what your thoughts were on anything. If you are reading this book, or if you've picked up this book, or this video inspired you to pick up this book, come back and revisit. Leave me a comment and let me know how it is changing your life. And real quick on our products. So I told you that I was going to be using the 35V by Morphe. I used that, and then I picked up my 35H in Morphe, which has a little more green to it. This is the palette that I finished up my eyeshadow with. I wasn't really going to wear lipstick because I'm about to put on a mask, but might as well finish the look to take our thumbnail picture. Alright, and for my lips, I used the liner, the Ulta liner Orchid, and then I just used Clinique's Ambrosia. It's very old. I don't even know if they still make that color. If they do, like I said, it'll be in the links below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that this inspires you to, if not this book, but to dive a little deeper and to see what ignites your beauty on the inside. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit subscribe and ring the bell so you can join me in this beauty exploration journey. Have a great day. and I'll see you later, creators.